Hey, I wanted to jump on and just kind of give my opinion of where I think the L mount is. These days, I've got a smaller channel. I'm primarily a commercial and portrait photographer based in Southern California. I've got some perspective of my of where I'm coming from and what I shoot and why I shoot with what I shoot with. I primarily use Leica SL3S right now, and I have a Q343. That's pretty much my everyday carry. And I just recently picked up the Hasselblad X2D. A little late to the game on that one, but I've had some personal work that I think I'm gonna really take advantage of that. I'll have some other videos on that. I don't want to get into that right now, but primarily I want to talk about L mount and how with all these influencers, these bigger channels, these bigger YouTube channels, they're giving a lot of perspective. And I think when you start getting thrown free stuff, which I'm a small channel, I'm not getting thrown free stuff. This is my own personal opinion, just from using the actual gear, from shooting Sony, from shooting Canon. Really love both of those cameras. I've tried Fuji. It just hasn't really spoken to me. Those cameras, I love how they look. They look beautiful. People love them. It's just again, I think what camera you choose is a very personal thing, and I'm not about like hating on any camera brands. I think the more options we have, the better. Okay, and I just love cameras. Hey, if money was no option, I'd have all of them. Okay, but that's not realistic. All right. So L mount, L mount right now. Just recently, the S5 was it S5 1R2 and the S5 2 S1 2. I don't know. The names I'm not familiar with. Like I said, I'm not familiar with the Panasonics as much, but those cameras with giving you two options, which I think is great. Leica kind of does a similar thing. You have the high resolution option, SL3, and then the SL3S. Okay, so the speed, the low light, and then the SL3 with the higher resolution. Now with the Lumix, both those cameras have the same autofocus capabilities. Now I've heard people say that the lower megapixel, 24 megapixel shoots and tracks a little bit better, but the hardware, as far as I know, the hardware is the same. So, oh, sorry, the S2, S12 and S12E, and then the S1R2. Okay, that's it. All right. So, those cameras are fully loaded. No one is holding anything back. No one is shortchanging any of the video capabilities. They're maxing out these cameras to the sensors' full capabilities. Plus, they're giving you open gate. I hear everyone saying like, "Oh, open gate." This is the first time that you're hearing open gate and open gate, 4K 60, open gate 4K in regular cameras, hybrid cameras. Well, the Leica SL3S, this has open gate. It doesn't have open gate 4K 60, but you've got open gate 4K 24, 29. That's one of the default video settings I have in here. And the one I most commonly use is the open gate because it gives me that flexibility. I'm getting the full sensor readout. So I love that. I love that capability, and now I just can't go back. So you're getting that in these cameras, and you're not getting that in the big boys. You're not getting that in Canon. You're not getting that in Sony. And I'm not sure whether you're getting that in Nikon. I don't think so, but don't hold me to it, okay? With their partnership with Red, maybe. I don't know, but I don't think you are in the full frame cameras, okay? So that's the one thing is you have options, okay? If you could go budget, with the Panasonic line. You can go ahead and go a little quirky with the Sigma cameras if you want with the BF. And then if you really appreciate really top-notch build quality and an improved UI, you've got the Leicas. And right now the SL2s, SL2Ss, those are pretty affordable and probably right in that sweet spot between the prior iterations, the prior generations of the Panasonic cameras and the newer ones. So you can get that prior generation cameras for like 1,800, 1,500, and you can pick up an SL2, SL2S right around the $2,000 range. Again, you're not going to have that phase detect autofocus with the Leicas, That's what you're going to miss. And you're going to have that with the Panasonics, even in the prior generation. So you've got options. Plus, you've also got access to all of the L-mount glass. So you do have that with some of the other cameras, Sony being probably the one where you have the most options. The thing is, and this is why I never really went third party with Sony, is I tended to have the more high-end bodies with Sony. So I had the A1. I had the A1. I had the A7R4. Okay. When you're shooting those higher frames per second, especially in the A1, going to the third-party glass, they're going to handcuff you, right? They're going to say, yeah, no more than 15. Now, that may not be a big deal for some. To me, if you're paying the money to have the higher body, I just prefer to go to the first-party glass if they're going to do that to you. So that was one of the things that pushed me more towards just in first-party glass. Now, with the L-mount, they're all working together. And what I've really seen in the past couple of years, especially as this relationship and partnership has grown, is that these lenses really work well together. When I had the SL2S, and I was trying out these segments, in fact, some of these same lenses, there was some quirks here and there, nothing crazy, where like there was just a little shutter lag. I don't see that stuff anymore. And even back then, I made sure that the lenses the firmware was up to date, the camera was up to date, and these days it just works so well together. I have a Sigma 35-1.4 that I ended up getting for this. That has worked amazing. I had a 51.2, and I do have the Appos, and I appreciate the Appos. I have a 50 Appo, but I even picked up this one just as an everyday kind of family camera. Family lens to have. It's really small, it's compact, and just to have in the house or when we're going to family gatherings or whatnot, it's a really nice, neat, compact package, and it's a great image. So I'm really happy with it. But you have these options in the L-mount, okay? And you're not getting handcuffed with any of the cameras. Panasonic's not handcuffing you, Leica's not handcuffing you, but you're getting the full capabilities of whatever camera body you choose, regardless of what lens you're going with within the L-mount. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Plus, between the Panasonic and the L-mount, both of these camera manufacturers, as of late, they have really been supporting their cameras. They're not skimping on features. They're not holding things back. They're giving you the full capabilities of these cameras, and they're also providing you firmware updates and supporting these cameras far longer and far more frequently than Sony specifically. That's kind of why I kind of went away from Sony. Love their cameras. Again, if you're going to do professional sports photography, I mean, Sony, Canon, and Nikon are probably the best ones. And I'm really happy that Nikon has really stepped things up lately and was right up there with those other two big boys. So that's where you're going to go with. And obviously, if you're in the AP and whatnot, and you're in some sort of news media outlet, and you have those available to you, those are great cameras, obviously. But if this is something that you're shopping around for, you're looking to get into photography, you're looking to maybe just have this as a hobby or a passion project, I don't think you can go wrong by checking out the L-mount. I think it's something you should seriously consider, and those to me are the biggest advantages. Is the fact that you're gonna get a camera, whether you go with Lumix or whether you go with Leica, you're going to get a camera that is going to pretty much max out whatever they can offer you. They're not going to be holding back features because of they're trying to sell you multiple bodies. And I kind of feel like that's what you're getting with Sony and Canon. Not so much Nikon. I feel like Nikon is doing a good job of that too. I'm just not as familiar with Nikon, and I'm not as familiar with Panasonic bodies either. But so that's it. Quick thoughts. I didn't want to spend too much on this. If you're shopping around, don't don't skip over L mount. I know, I've kind of did. I kind of skipped over Panasonic, and a lot of it was well deserved. Their autofocus was lacking, but so was Leica, and I ended up giving them a shot. Why? Well, because of the build quality, because of the feel of the cameras and the user interface, which I really, really value. I am no spring chicken. I have been doing this for quite a while. I'm a little bit more mature, old, and I'm at a position in life where I appreciate these things. I appreciate having a camera that inspires me, that I enjoy using, enjoy holding, and that's why I gravitate more towards Leica. I now I try not the Hasselblad camera, but who knows? Maybe only a little while until Leica gets their medium format up to snuff. So start bumping those things out again. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. Again, take a look. I don't think you can go wrong. I really like what they're doing. Panasonic, the L mount, everything that's going on. Sigma makes great lenses. I don't think you can get a better third-party manufacturer than Sigma. First off, I love the fact that all of their lenses are pretty much manufactured in one factory, as far as I know, in Japan. Really great company. Employees are happy. I value that. I think if you have happy employees, you're going to get a great product. Same reason why I like purchasing some of the German-made products and whatnot from Leica. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. Sure, people will disagree with me, but yeah, can't go wrong. Give it a shot. Give them a shot. One of the reasons why I keep an eye on Panasonic is obviously we don't have pro support with Leica, so I always kind of keep an eye on what the Panasonic cameras are doing, and it's just nice to know, because in case something ever happens with my SL3S. It's nice to know that I can go ahead and maybe pick one of these up, that Panasonic Lumix cameras, or rent it and just use my existing lenses if I need to, because I don't have that pro support for Leica, which there's a small company. I don't expect them to. I don't see that happening anytime soon. That's just not, I don't know. I don't see that happening. Maybe they'll surprise me, maybe it will, but they don't have the scale. They're not as large as some of these other companies. That's one of the negatives, right? That's what you got to deal with. If you're going to choose to shoot with Leica, you're not going to get that pro support. So just that's why I've always kind of kept an eye on what Lumix is doing and what Panasonic's doing with their cameras. So check them out. Don't think you can go wrong. That's a camera that literally is going to be totally future-proof in terms of especially video. They're not holding anything back, and they're going to continue to put updates on those cameras. So, they're not going to push you to buy like another body or anything like that, or, And I say this especially as Sony just comes out with the FX2 and the FX3 and the ZV-1. It's so many cameras. And some features are in this one, and that's kind of what turned me off when I had the Sony A1. I had the Sony A1. There wasn't any software updates. I love that camera. Don't get me wrong. It was great. But I spent $6,500 on that camera. I think at the time it was $6,000. I'm not even sure. And no firmware updates. Then I start seeing the A7 IV come out. And the A7 IV had some features like focus breathing and all this other stuff that I didn't even have in the Sony A1. And then I see the A7R5 come out with that screen. Now they finally put on the A1 too. But for that price, for the lack of support, call me crazy. I just don't want to have to be buying camera bodies all the time. I want to just really sit and get familiar with a camera body and have a company that's going to support the firmware to the best that they can. The SL3, for example, there's hardware limitations on those autofocus points. You got like 290 something autofocus points. The SL3S has 700. There's certain things that they can do, but there's no firmware updates that's going to get that thing to focus as fast as SL3S. And that's why I ended up trading the SL3 for the SL3S. To me, it's just more complete camera for me, and it's going to be able to handle 99% of what I need it to. You know, so what's that? All right, L mount.